Welcome to Business Model Development. I'm Dr. Matthew Thornton, Business Model Consultant for the Center for Evidence to Practice and CEO of the Center for Children and Families. This is Session 4, The People Business. And in this session, we're going to look at client factors and staff factors that will impact your organization's ability to succeed. Positive experience for both clients and staff create sustainability. So we're going to examine the client factors of engagement and outcomes. We're also going to discuss factors of performance and retention when it comes to staff. Now, all of these people factors interact. Improvements in one area will foster improvements in another. And likewise, if you struggle in a particular area, it's going to have a negative impact that's going to ripple through your organization. So let's start with client factors. Engagement is, of course, a key treatment factor, but we're going to actually focus on its impact on your bottom line as a business and organization. So strong client engagement provides stability and predictability in your caseloads, productivity, and revenue. So a lack of engagement is going to create volatility and increase the pressures on your marketing team to get new referrals, on your authorization team to process more clients, and even on your financial team to try to troubleshoot and follow up on accounts receivable for a higher volume of clients. So when you have strong engagement, your caseloads don't turn over as often. And so you can count on the fact that the clients that you're serving today will be your clients through the duration of their authorization, allowing you to manage your caseload size for staff to kind of stabilize expectations around productivity and to decrease those ups and downs of billing because staff don't have cases or that don't have clients that are meeting regularly. So let's look at how can you impact engagement. And a lot of times I hear administrators talking about training staff on engagement. And that's absolutely a great thing, but it's not the only thing. A key area for your organization's overall impact on engagement is actually responsiveness to clients. And this begins with the referral. How quickly do you contact that client? Are you demonstrating that they matter because you're getting in touch with them quickly? And the same thing goes for during the course of treatment. If your client is calling the office trying to get in touch with a staff member, how quickly are we getting back with that client? How quickly are we demonstrating that they matter and that we're going to be responsive to their needs? Another area is reliability, and this is key. Can your clients count on you to do what you say you will do? Can you be trusted to show up when you said you would? Can you be trusted to call them back when you said that you would? Reliability engenders trust, which is a key factor in engagement altogether. We also want to look at creating positive experiences for clients. It's often in those little moments that we don't think much about that are hard to kind of capture and quantify. It's a friendly demeanor, it's a listening ear, it's a respectful response, a hopeful attitude. These are the things that create those little positive experiences for your clients that make a huge difference. I typically will talk to my staff about if you want to engage your clients, and you have to actually be an engaging person. Are you someone that others want to be around? It's a simple sort of human factor. And if I talk to your clients, would they describe you as someone that was kind, warm, respectful, even optimistic? Because those are the kind of people that I want to be around, and that's the kind of people that our clients want to be around. And it's these intangibles that create these positive client experiences that will keep your clients engaged. And they're actually going to be the things that stabilize your financials as well. So great outcomes obviously will have an impact on multiple levels in your organization. First off, they're going to create credibility. They're going to generate word-of-mouth referrals in the community. They're going to build trust with your stakeholders and with others. They're going to impact your corporate culture because when people feel like they're succeeding and they're having an impact, it creates a better vibe, a better corporate culture, a better feel and morale for your staff. And it's also going to create opportunities for your business, whether that's in the form of new funding opportunities or even service expansion opportunities. Great outcomes will influence a lot. So, what do you need to do as a business to really capitalize fully on good outcomes? The first thing you need to do is to be tracking targeted outcomes for your specific client population. In other words, are your services doing what they're supposed to do? So, do your parenting services actually improve parent-child interactions? And are you measuring that change? Does your drug treatment program reduce substance use? This may seem really obvious, but there's a lot of organizations that just provide service and never really bother to track whether or not those services are doing what they're intended to do in the community. You have to decide what is important to measure, what indicates success for you, and then you've got to track that data. So from there, what I challenge you to do is you need to develop routine mechanisms for reporting that information. So who's gathering the data, who's generating reports, who's reviewing those reports, and this needs to be built into the normal everyday business and routine of your staff. It can't be like this occasional exploration or an inconsistent assessment of your performance. This is especially true if what you find when you look at your outcomes that they're not as good as you'd want them to be. I promise you, if you measure it, it will change, and usually for the better, because accountability increases effort at every level of your organization. So once you have your outcomes, you need to establish channels to share those outcomes both internally and externally. It's important, as we'll see later, for your staff to know that what they're doing is actually making a difference. And stakeholders that are sending you referrals or funding want to know that they've made the right decision to partner with you. And so there may be other stakeholders out there that will see your outcomes as well and that will shift referrals your way or seek you out for other opportunities. And as you present your outcomes, I challenge you to use a mix of data and storytelling in your messaging. And this applies both internally and externally. People respond emotionally to stories. So providing data gives those stories credibility, but I want you to strike a balance in the way that you present both informative information and a compelling human story that's really going to capture the attention of people. So both compelling and informative, and you do that through telling stories. So here are a few things you need to track and trend related to client engagement and outcomes. Obvious for me, it's a big deal, time frames from referral to discharge, and that's measuring your responsiveness, measuring at every key element, a key transition or key handoff, how are you doing? How quickly is your staff responding to that? How quickly are you indicating to that client that they matter and taking care of what you need to? I also like to look at the reasons for discharge, and this is going to help me identify if I need to improve in client engagement or if there's key areas where we're losing clients because of a certain reason, or if they're dropping out early from treatment. We also want to look at client satisfaction and, of course, your key indicators for success that you've identified. So, okay, we're going to shift to key factors for staff. And these for me are performance and retention. And these two factors are so closely intertwined, instead of examining them separately, we're actually going to look at elements that influence both. And that first element that I want to look at that influences both performance and retention is the element of purpose. Today's workforce needs purpose. People want to make an impact, and this is especially true of millennials and younger workers. We're trying to find ways to connect with them. Well, purpose is a key area that's been identified for millennials and younger workers. They need to know that what they do matters and will make an impact. Staff with purpose are typically more engaged, and an engaged staff member is better able to engage their clients as well. It comes down to the fact that you really have trouble selling something you don't believe in. And so you really need your staff to be engaged, to have that sense of purpose, because when they engage and they talk with community members and with clients, that's going to come across in those interactions. I've also started to see with more research that's out there, the idea that a sense of purpose is going to influence burnout. People burn out because they lose their why, they lose their purpose. Mental health, particularly in working with Medicaid populations and lower income families, a lot of times it's tough work, and it's noble work. But when people lose that sense of that noble purpose, they begin to burn out really rapidly. And so for me, looking as a leader in our organization, I've got to be intentional about connecting that what people are doing really matters. People need to be reminded of that regularly, because it's important that, to reinforce that sense of purpose. And that's from our receptionist, who is the first voice that a client hears from our agency and how important that is, to the counselor that's showing up on the doorstep to provide in-home counseling to a teen that everybody else has given up on. As a leader in your organization, you have to be the voice that connects people to the mission and people to their purpose. So in the same way that staff need to have a purpose, they also need to feel like they have competence. They need to know that what they're doing is what they're supposed to be doing, and that it's actually working. And as an agency, our focus is on providing training that supports confidence and offers people a clear plan of action. They need to know what they need to do when they need to do it. And one of the reasons I'm a big supporter of EBPs is because evidence-based programs offer a framework and principles that promote effectiveness. And in addition to that framework, if you look at supervision and developing those individualized development plans for your staff, that's really going to focus their growth over time. And professional growth is key to staff retention, because people want to have movement in their career. And that doesn't always have to mean that they need to change jobs or get a promotion. Movement can be the development of a high skill level, which creates a sense of accomplishment in a person. You also need to develop your people, um, and build mechanisms for your staff to share their knowledge. So once you've spent the time really supervising and training, and people have had the experience in the field, they gain a lot of knowledge and information and expertise that they can share with others in your organization. So build mechanisms for people to share their knowledge and expertise, and this will create a rising of the tide for your whole organization. It's going to promote a sense of togetherness and momentum for your agency. The last element we'll discuss that impacts performance and retention is recognition. In the simplest terms, people want to be seen. They want to know that what they do matters. And while purpose gives them a drive, recognition sustains that drive. They're not toiling in isolation. Their work is contributing to a greater cause. They're a part of something that's bigger than just themselves, and their contribution to that really does make a difference. That's what people want to feel as they're working in your organization. So honoring those that do great work is going to not only reinforce that for them, but it's going to set expectations of excellence across your whole organization. So recognizing those people that are doing outstanding and that are providing great service, and in doing it in such a way that the community and clients are responding to it, is going to set that as an expectation for new hires and for people that are just coming into your organization as well. But before you can actually recognize good work, you really have to know what success looks like. So this comes back to defining those key performance indicators, what success is for you, particularly with your client population, and then track that and report those outcomes for your teams and your programs. And that really is another way to let people know that what they do matters and is seen, is when you're tracking their outcomes and how they're doing with clients. If you're reporting that back to them, they know that it's they're not just working in vain. Someone's taken the time to look at, are we being effective, and they're reporting that back. So let's bring this all together. The client factors of engagement, outcomes, interact with the staff factors of performance and retention. So when you have high performing staff that's able to engage clients and get good outcomes, they tend to stay with you longer because they're making a difference and they feel like they're a part of something. And when you've got staff focused on providing great service and they have a clearly defined purpose, clients tend to stay in treatment because they're engaged. And you also tend to have better outcomes because of that engagement. All of these factors will show up on your financial reports in the form of lower expenses because you're not having to train or have downtime because staff is turning over, and also a more stable income because clients are staying in treatment and referral sources are satisfied with good outcomes. That's going to levelize out some of the volatility that you may be seeing in your financial reports. So this has been session 4, the people business, where we've looked at both client and staff factors that influence your bottom line and how positive experiences create sustainability. What I want you to take away from this session and really the other sessions that I've done is that you as a leader can influence all of these factors, but you have to be intentional. Know where to concentrate your effort. And if you can do that, you can take your business to the next level. So I'm Dr. Matthew Thornton, and thanks for joining me for Business Model Development.